10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you, and I'm thankful that you're here with us on this Wednesday, December the 3rd, 2025. I can't believe where the year is gone. I can't believe that it's almost done. I can't believe that we're going to be in 2026 in less than a month. Christmas is coming. I hope everyone's doing okay with your Christmas preparations and it's not stressing you out too much. And I really feel for all the people that the Christmas season really brings a lot of heartache for a lot of people, a lot of stress, and it is what it is. It's unfortunate, but I just hope that everyone's able to find something positive this year, even though things seem less and less positive out there. Generally speaking, you need to find the positive. You need to find the diamond in the rough, is what the new mantra I have going forward will be. You'll find even better when it's harder to see, when it's harder to look for it, when it's harder to find, and you do the effort to look for the good rather than it just being good all around you and it's just apparent that everything's really good and you have to find trouble because there's no trouble. Well, there's going to be trouble and you need to find the good coming up in the recent future. It's turning very rapidly towards a very interesting time. So we need to find that diamond in the rough. You need to find the good. You need to find your happy place, I guess you can say. There's some people just as the saying goes, which is an interesting saying, find your happy place. But you need to find it. Because other than that, what are you going to do? Are you going to let your surroundings bring you down, right? So we try to be as positive as we can on the show, despite what people who may not agree with everything is, and everyone on the show who says anything, and the views expressed on this show don't necessarily reflect those of CKLU or Laurentian University. They're that of my own, any of the guests we have on, and the people commenting, and the journalists from the news stories that we report on. It's their comments and not that of CKLU or Laurentian. But we're going to have a great show today, as usual. We're going to start off with a little bit of weather, as usual. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM, terrestrial radio. We're also streaming live at cklu.ca. We're also streaming live in video on facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow the channel and the page. And then the show will be found immediately on demand on those two platforms, along with x.com/Sudbury News and Sudbury.news, which is our news aggregator. Make sure to comment. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. The comments, I'm able to put them up on the screen, so comment. I do my best to read a few of your comments at the beginning of the show, then we have to dive right in. If I miss you by giving you a morning shout out, it's not on purpose whatsoever. It's just because I'm a one-man operation. I don't get paid for this. I'm just doing this. I'm volunteering on CKLU, as you could as well, whether it's behind the mic, it's helping out with the computers, whether it's you have some radio background and you want to help out with whatever knowledge you have, or you want to help us with fundraising, whatever you want to do. We're open to your talents and helping us out. And that's all I'm doing. That's all a lot of people they expect like this full on production. I guess we're doing a good enough job where people expect us to be doing this, high level show where we have a bunch of people fact checking and writing behind the scenes, and I'm delivering the news, and I got a teleprompter, and it's the whole shebang. It's just me, a camera, a mic, and a computer that patches me in with CKLU. And we got the news from the different local news outlets, Sudbury Star, Sudbury.com, CBC, CTV. So we do our best on the fly to read the breaking news stories of the day, get some comments on them from those that are coming on, which is a unique format. No one else. It's like cross-country checkup, but every morning, but through text, right? Through online comments. But it's a Sudbury checkup. Maybe that's the new name for the show. Who knows? So with all that being said, thanks for being on. We have quite a larger, our audience is growing each and every day. We have a large audience and we're grateful for that. It's just people that want to get together in the morning and spend some time chatting virtually. It's like our virtual coffee shop, chatting about what we feel about the news that's happening, whether it's local, regional, provincial, national, international. So let's dive right in. What's more newsworthy than the weather, right? That's something that we all talk about and it affects us all. So let's dive right in. We'll be back right after this. And as usual, Sudbury Weather is brought to you by sudburyweather.ca, and currently it's -3 degrees out there with some light snow. And I'm just looking, with the wind chill is -10. I was looking for that wind chill. It was kind of hidden there. Today, cloudy with a 40% chance of flurries early this morning. Flurries beginning this morning. Risk of snow squalls this afternoon. There's a risk of snow squalls this afternoon. Local amount of 5 centimeters. Wind southwest 30 kilometers, gusting to 50. Becoming northwest 20, gusting to 40 late this afternoon. -1 is your high, but with the wind chill will be -9 in the morning, and then -14 in the afternoon. So it's getting colder throughout today. And then, yes, overnight, it'll be partly cloudy with a 40% chance of flurries. The wind will be the same deal. Low of -18 overnight with the wind chill. This evening will be -13 and -27 overnight. -27 overnight. I said that. I'll say it again. This is the first real cold night of the winter. It'll be December 4th, early in the morning. That's the first cold day. -27 overnight. Make sure if you have any, when you got to shut the water off inside for your hose and stuff, and you put that off. You better do that before tonight, because your pipes might freeze. Okay, just a bit of a warning from yours truly. And then tomorrow, sunny. Windy, though. Gusting to 50 kilometers per hour. High of -15. Wind chill -30 in the morning. -19 in the afternoon. Risk of frostbite. Right? And then a cloud. And then it's, it's going to get a little more milder tomorrow night, not tonight. Tonight, -30 by the time the morning rolls around. That's very cold. And then -16 overnight tomorrow night. So it's just going to be that one snap cold night. And then we're going to be back to kind of more seasonal temperatures. Friday, -6 is your high. 60% chance of flurries. Saturday, -6, 60% chance of flurries. Same thing, Friday, Saturday. Sunday, Monday, still looking as if it's going to be sunny with a -13, -11. and then a 60% chance of flurries on Tuesday. That's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. Back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. And yes, I'm back, your volunteer host of a volunteer show on a community radio station, streaming live into your devices, whether it's your phone, your iPad, your tablet, your laptop, your desktop, your TV, whatever it may be, your radio. We're streaming there. And what an age we live in where we can actually do something like this. Just someone like myself who has some schooling in communications, who wants to be able to have a career in it, but there's less and less jobs. And if there is, they're not for you because you're not the age, you're not the color, you're not the language, you're not the anything that anyone's looking for. You're basically from the island of misfit toys. And so, but you can do it yourself. You don't have to wait for someone else to give you permission or pay you for it. If it's your passion, you can do it. It's so great that we live in a world still that one can do this. Now, the government, and we'll get into this in a few minutes. The government doesn't like that idea that somebody can do what I just said. They don't want that. They want to be able to pay you, but to say what they want you to say. They don't want people like myself to be able to do that. And so they're making laws and regulations to stop it, which is interesting. I'm not even being paid. No one has to listen. You don't have to watch. You can click off. You can turn off. But for some reason, people feel it's dangerous. This is dangerous. It's like I'm going around with a weapon or something and doing whatever. So, and a lot of people applaud that because if they don't agree with what you say, they want to cancel you. We come from this cancel culture, right? Until cancel comes for you, you don't realize the danger of it. Goes back to Coach's Corner with Don Cherry. A lot of people say, well, he's over the hill, he's old, he's getting senile, he's starting to say some things. And he did say things that I didn't agree with. But when they canceled him, they fired him, I said, watch out now. I said, that's not the answer. You don't just cancel someone because you don't agree with what they say. Did he say anything illegal? Well, if he did, then you go through those avenues. Did he break any laws with what he said? Then go on that, follow that path, but if he didn't, then what's the problem? You have problems with what people say, what their opinions are? If I like chocolate ice cream, you're going to cancel me because you like vanilla? Really? It hurts your feelings that I like chocolate ice cream? Like what? Really? So I guess the government feels they want vanilla ice cream and vanilla ice cream only for people. And anyone who says chocolate ice cream, you have to be either canceled, fined, or put in jail, is what the new laws are being formed as. All these bills see this, bills see that. You can look into it. You don't have to take my word for it. You're not supposed to take my word for anything. Don't agree with anything I say. If I do say something, you have to look into it yourself. And good morning, Northern Hillbilly. Thanks for being on. And much appreciated. Betty's here as well. Good morning. And I'm just going to move on here, get people's comments up on the screen. Just welcome everyone with some good morning shout outs. We've got so much on the show today I have to get to. So thanks for being on, Betty in Northern Hillbilly. Judy's on Facebook. Vin's on Facebook. Belinda's on Facebook, and she's got her morning comment of the day. Don't fight every battle, fight the ones that advances the war. When you are weary, rest and regroup. Charge the batteries, right? Charge the batteries. And good morning, Marianne. Thanks for being on, liking and sharing as usual. Hazel's praying for us and everyone else as usual in the morning. Thanks, Hazel. Thanks for being on. And you got your Larry here. Good morning to you and all Canadians. We're going to be positive today for sure. Try to be positive every day. Find your positiveness, regardless of what's going on. Believe me, I look at I don't know how much negative news every day. Not only do I try to get up on things for the show. Good morning, Pat. Thanks for being with us. Good morning, Marion. So not only do I have to get ready for the show, I actually am interested in what's going on in world events. I'm seeing things unfold. I was always interested in. I'm interested in prophecy. And I'm seeing a lot of it being fulfilled in our modern news today. Good morning, Miles. You're talking about Bill C-8, the end of public religious worship in Canada. We will be getting to that, right? Or do we start with that, then we go to local? I don't know. Let's do some local first. Then we'll get into Bill C-8, Bill C this, Bill C that. There's just craziness going on in our country. Okay. Let's see. What do we got here for local news headlines? All kinds of stuff here. LaPointe, our Sudbury MP, is announcing $1 million for Sudbury Community Services Center. Right? Sudbury, Steffi, good morning to you. Loretta, good morning. Have I seen you on the show before? I'm not sure if I have, but welcome. Thanks for being on. You must have been on before. But yeah, we're talking about all kinds of stuff. And the center that the federal government will be giving $1 million to, excuse me, provides financial services at no cost to those who need assistance. So that's pretty good, right? More money from our federal government for those who need it. It's our tax dollars, right? So this is the thing. When you give all your money to the federal government, then they do with it what they want. And sometimes you agree with it, sometimes you don't. But you need to follow it and see what they're doing and how they're doing it and why they're doing it. Good morning to you, Evelyn. Thanks for being on. Okay. So former KPMG auditor fired for professional misconduct in connection with Laurentian's pre-insolvency audit. No, not KPMG. They would never do anything wrong, right? So I guess Kate Rutherford had this story on CBC, but we asked ChatGPT to summarize it for me. And that way we can get the gist of it in a short period of time. And I just let everyone know that it is summarized by ChatGPT, just so you know. And if there's ever anything it's done that you may feel that is not correct, you can look into it yourself, kind of thing. That's why I tell you that I'm summarizing it through those means. Former KPMG auditor Laurie Bazinet has been fined $50,000. I might have said fired because my eyes are so bad. Let me see here. If I go back, can I even see? Oh yeah, it was on. Has been fined. That's right. See, fake news, disinformation, misinformation. Everybody call your local MP. Have them take me off the air. Former KPMG auditor Laurie Bazinet has been fined $50,000. Why, you ask? She was ordered to cover the most of the investigation costs and stripped of her CPA Ontario status after admitting to professional misconduct connected to Laurentian University's 2020 audit, the final audit before the university's unprecedented insolvency filing. CPA Ontario's investigation found that Bissonnette failed to properly assess the document whether Laurentian was a viable growing concern, relied too heavily on management's cash flow forecasts, and did not exercise adequate professional skepticism. Despite signs of deepening financial trouble, including a forecasted deficit, the hiring of insolvency-related legal and financial advisors, and escalating internal concerns, Bissonnette did not sufficiently follow up or document discussions with Laurentian's leadership. She retired in September 2020 and said she learned of Laurentian's insolvency only when it became public in February 2021. Do you believe that? It's just a question for the audience. Okay. The disciplinary findings echo conclusions from the Ontario Auditor General, who determined Laurentian's administration concealed plans to pursue insolvency and failed to disclose key information to KPMG. Laurentian's insolvency triggered nearly 200 staff and faculty layoffs and the closure of dozens of academic programs. And the university continues to deal with the fallout, including asset sales and campus restructuring. The university's staff union said CPA ruling aligns with the previous reports, but praised the regulator for taking the matter seriously, hoping it sends a warning to other auditors. Legislative changes implemented in 2024 now prevent publicly funded post-secondary institutions from using the Companies Creditors Arrangement Act, CCAA, as Laurentian did, right? So Laurentian was a game changer in the country's changing the laws of universities and how they go about things. One quick dub, good morning to you. I know there's been other people coming on that I may have missed here, like Mary, right? There's been a few, though, as I've been just clicking through. Don't tell me. I'll Be Dabbin' is on. My goodness, haven't seen you for ages. Good morning. Thank you very much. And many others probably joined on, but I was just clicking away as I was reading. Who knew I'd just be reading off a teleprompter like CBC, right? Who knew? But not just that. I'm trying to question things as we're going along, trying to kind of like put some more questions out there to maybe what we're not getting from the original news article. Posing some questions, having people think. Okay, next story. Glencore and Vale have come to some kind of deal. They're going to partner up. Vale Base Metals and Glencore, which I didn't realize Vale Base Metals is a different company than Vale. I did not realize that until someone pointed that out to me the other day. Pretty interesting stuff. So Vale Base Metals is, and good morning, Andrew. Thanks for being on. It was made, I think, mainly to deal with nickel and copper, I believe, and the other ones deal with the other stuff. I can't remember. But Vale Base Metals is a whole other company altogether. But they struck a deal with Glencore and signed a landmark agreement to jointly assess a major copper-focused brownfield project in Sudbury using the existing shaft and infrastructure at Glencore's idled Nickel Rim South mine. The plan involves deepening the mine shaft and constructing new drifts to access copper deposits located on both companies' adjacent properties. That's why they needed to make a deal together. If advanced to a full joint venture, the project would operate as a 50-50 partnership, producing an estimated 880,000 metric tons of copper over 21 years at a cost of US $2 billion. The executives from both companies called the collaboration a historic breakthrough and decades of unsuccessful attempts to align operations in the Sudbury Basin. So yeah, they've thought of this before. They kind of tried it a bit, but here they are. They're saying if it's successful, it'll be a good thing. I think it's a good thing. They both have like real estate in Sudbury, and I think there's a lot of projects that can't go forth. And good morning, Robert. So, you're on your second coffee already. So this will be unprecedented for Sudbury, right? Because they both own a little piece of the puzzle. And I'm sure the fact that one owns this and the other one owns that prevents them sometimes from going ahead and effectively getting, the minerals and the precious metals out of the ground. Okay. Now, we were talking a little bit about this. Miles brought it up. And I talked about it earlier on the show that someone like me, just a volunteer, regular guy from Sudbury, who'd never be able to get a job in mainstream media for multiple reasons: age, color, gender orientation, language, you name it. I don't check any of the boxes of anyone they're looking for. So I'm just a little old me saying, hey, I'll pay my own way kind of thing and do my own show on the community radio station. But not everybody likes this kind of thing. And so the government fights back against us. And one of the ways they're fighting back are with all these C bills. And Miles brought, they're gonna try and squash anyone like myself and anyone talking about religion. Even religion itself, the government kind of hates religion. Who would have thought? Why? Why do they hate religion? Why do they want religion to cease to be? Interesting stuff. Religion does, everyone feels differently about religion, but why would the government want to shut it down? Anyways, here's one of our MPs, Canadian MPs, talking about it.
This morning in Ottawa, the Liberals made an announcement, a very serious one, that they are planning to work with the Bloc Québécois to criminalize religious belief in Canada. If you don't believe me, here is a national news story. Liberals deal with the Bloc means hate speech laws will lose exemption for sincerely held religious belief. I am going to break down for you what this means. This is the Liberals are about to criminalize religious belief in Canada. I'm going to break this down for you in detail on what's happening, but I need you to do two things. I need you to share this video, and I also need you to click on the link that's in the comments and click subscribe, because I'm going to be writing about this, and we know that existing Liberal censorship bills prevent information like this from getting out. So again, what the Liberals have announced this morning that we're all dealing with on Parliament Hill is that they intend to criminalize religious belief. And I'm going to explain to you how. I know this sounds like this can't be happening, but it is. And this information is going to help you understand why and communicate it to people. And regardless of how you vote, if this passes, freedom of religious belief is what makes Canada Canada. And they're about to try and stop that. So please share this video. Please help me get this word out. Everybody needs to fight this. So what is happening? Let me break this down for you. So the Liberals introduced a bill a few months ago. It's called Bill C9. It is another censorship bill. It's a thought crime bill. Conservatives have been actively opposing it. But what it does is it hands the government powerful new tools to decide what the courts will consider as hate speech. So we all know that when the Liberals try to define something as hate speech, it is, the purpose of it is to stop communication of different ideas. And I'm going to get into how existing hate speech laws are not enforced by the Liberal government, but let me break down what C9, this new bill, does. So it lowers the bar for hatred. It removes key safeguards and creates vague new crimes that can be stretched to silence dissent. So that's what Bill C9 does. It creates a new vague definition of hatred, and it replaces extreme detestation with just detestation, or vilification. These are very vague terms that could be used to describe almost anything. And again, for people who are like, oh, no, that's not the case. That's exactly what's in the bill. The second thing that it does is it removes the Attorney General's consent so that police can charge you directly with no higher level filter. And it opens the door, frankly, and my concern is that it opens the door for politically motivated arrests. It does a few other things, but these are key elements on why conservatives have been opposing this bill. And this morning, what they've done is they've announced that the one or two safeguards that were in here, they want to remove them so that it'll be easier to criminalize religious thought. Now, in committee on this bill already, we've seen the Liberals talk about criminalizing certain types or muse about criminalizing certain types of religious thought. So this isn't something that's esoteric. They've already thought about this, and I'm going to get more on like proof on why this is a big problem in a second. But here's the thing, guys: there's already existing laws that that deal with hate speech in Canada, and they're not being enforced. We know that we have a massive problem with anti-Semitism in Canada, but the government already has tools that they can use to prosecute these types of issues, and they're not. So, for example, the criminal code under section 319.1, it's already an offense to publicly incite hatred. 319.2 to promote hatred. 319.7 makes it clear that there are certain gestures and signs can promote hatred as well. But the government and activist courts have not, or police have chosen not to actually enforce these. So we already have these laws on the books. And the government, you've all watched the government sit idly by while police refuse to enforce certain types of laws in situations where, frankly, Jewish Canadians are being targeted, right? So these laws are already on the books and the government is refusing to enforce them. But now they've got this new bill where they're saying that they will make an amendment so that there is no exceptions for religious belief, essentially. So that's a huge problem. What else is the problem, guys? Well, we know that activist courts and police that are not enforcing existing laws are problematic. Where has the, my leader, the conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, we've been talking about how the government has refused to do anything or even acknowledged that church burnings are a problem, right? This article is just from last month. The article is 3 charges of burning near century-old church in central Alberta. Where is the inquiry on this? Why aren't existing laws being used to prevent this from happening? I think about the fact that the government went out of their way to jail pastors during the pandemic. The government has stood idly by while shouts of death to Canada have been, held in our streets over the last 2 years. And frankly, even when you look at the government not enforcing laws that are already on the books to keep people safe, I mean, we could go in any direction. You could look at how they have a catch and release system for people with serious crime. How it looks like they're going to vote against my bill to stop courts from giving non-citizens who've been convicted of serious crimes leniency in order so that they can avoid deportation.
So there's lots there that can go on. She goes on for other things. I just want to say good morning to Christy, good morning to Ronald for being on. And there's a lot going on with that bill. There's a lot going on with these other bills. Now, I saw Vin said double-edged sword, and I thought that was a really concise way of saying it, because I also don't agree with certain religious beliefs out there. I think they're very dangerous. If they talk about doing harm to people, there are some out there that say they want to wipe out anyone who doesn't believe what they believe. Now that's something else. Like that's, like you are committing a crime by saying that. You want to go out and do harm to someone. You want to murder everyone who doesn't believe in your religion. So, okay, that's against the law. You can't say that. I can't go out saying I want to murder you. Like, you just can't. Okay? But you can't just broad brush stroke everybody. I myself, I'm a free thinker. I came upon, trying to find God myself. I was able to do that. I was able to find that, of all the people that you would have thought, was real, Jesus happened to be real. He actually happened to live. We know that historically it's true. I actually was able to connect through reading what was written about what he said. Now, whether or not he said exactly those things, it's debated with scholars all over the place, but it resonated with me nonetheless, to the point where I was able to come to terms with my own questions of whether or not he is real. And the more that I kept going down that on my own, I was able to find that there was so many truths that I couldn't deny. And I experimented just like the word was telling me to do this and this will happen. I did it. It happened. There was more to it than what someone might say. I had to do it myself. I did it myself, right? But for me not to be able to talk about that and tell someone that's been my experience, and hey, it's really affected my life in a super huge positive way. And for me not to be able to tell somebody that and be arrested or whatever, or even I know the church that I've come to belong to, which bears the name of him, it's his church. And, they do a lot of good. They don't go out pounding their chests saying they give away billions and billions of dollars to good causes all the time. They're the first ones into any zones that have been affected by hurricanes or earthquakes with planes and supplies, and they do so much. And that's just one drop in the bucket of all the good they do. But they're able to do that because they're able to function as a not-for-profit, because that's just the way that it is. But to demonize all religions with that's, you can just tell what's behind that, right? Just say there was one right one. There was one doing things the way you would even agree with if you were to look at all the facts about it. Say, yeah. Well, why squash all of them to prevent even that? I think it's to prevent anyone for talking about him. And I'll say Jesus. The main goal is to prevent people from of talking about him. That's what it's always been. It's always been. And you can see martyrs and martyrs across history to do with that. And I think that's what's at the core. And again, am I presenting the case right now? Am I backing it up with facts? No, I'm not. I'm just basically telling you the surface level of what I think is going on. I know that's where the end game is for governments around the world, just to squash, not religion, because they have a religion themselves. They want you to be religiously zealous. They want you to worship them. They want religion. It's just they don't want you to worship anyone but them, right? So it's interesting. It's an interesting conversation, and it's one we don't really have all that much time to talk about, but I'm open to talking about it, as I'm open to talking about pretty much anything if anyone's ever watched the show before. Okay, so, and then there's other laws too. It's crazy. They just don't stop with the laws. We've had this before, but we need to kind of, okay, well, we'll save it maybe for tomorrow. I'll just share a bit of, all the different bills that are out there, and we'll just end the show with that.
Well, Canada, get ready to be a full-on police state, 1984 style. If Parliament passes a few bills, we're going to alert you to. The Justice Centre for Constitutional Freedom is warning specifically about bills C2, C8, and C9. I'm going to summarize them together, and then we'll break them down. If they are passed, they would allow the government to open your mail, criminalize the use of cash, allow for warrantless search, prosecute Canadians for opinions, kick you off the internet, have full access to your social media data by allowing social media companies to basically become an arm of the government, allow your neighbor to report you for possible hate crimes so that the government literally can put you on house arrest for the potential, that's like Minority Report, for the potential to do a hate crime if they just don't like the way you use the internet or your opinions. Joining us to discuss is John Carpe. He's the president.
So they were going to go in and discuss that. We played this on a show last week or whatever. And again, I think it just needs to be kind of driven home of what's going on in Canada, just so people are aware. it's going to happen at some point. People will just get so tired of not having any money, having to work 3-4 jobs. Taxes are so high. Oh, one of the stories today was Greater Sudbury just unanimously approved a tax hike. Where we got here, we're just being taxed to death. There's no end to it. Where did it go? So we just unanimously approved a tax hike here in Sudbury. Oh, that's where it is. Yeah, it's on Sudbury.com, I thought maybe. Council unanimously approves Greater Sudbury budget hike of 10.21%. You know, just taxes are just through the roof. We can't afford to live anymore. Eventually you just give up and the government wins. And yeah, the end goal is you got to just listen to whatever they say. The control. It's all about control. Always has been with every government in history. It eventually just boils down to that. And yeah, so they won't stop until they got it all. And all these bills just show that that's what they're doing. And it's just good to know that. But there's a lot of people, their mouths are salivating. They can't wait for it. They think that's the utopian world that we're waiting for, where the government just takes on full control, gets rid of all those conspiracy theorists and those religious people and all those anti-vaxxers and all those people, get rid of them. You know, it's like what happened with Charlie Kirk. People were applauding it. Like, that just shows you the temperature of our society that we're at, right? Regardless of whether you believe anything he says or anything he stands for. You know, why do you applaud that type of behavior? That's where we're at, right? So there's so many people just so happy that that's where we're going. And that's the day that it's been. Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow on the same platforms, God willing. Thanks for being with us, everyone. Remember to stay aware, like, share, take care, stay tuned for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. Ciao, everyone.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.